Well, what a game we have had in Anantapur. Well, India A have been crowned the Duleep Trophy champions by securing a 132-run win over India C. Well, it was a very tight game towards the end. At one stage, it looked like that India C would really go on to chase the required target of 350 and they might just, who knows, would have won the Duleep Trophy. But then it was a sensational comeback by the India A bowlers who managed to secure the title for their side, India A. And then in case of India C, well, you got to feel for Sai Sudarshan. Well, he played a fighting knock by coming in at number 3. He scored 100 and made sure that India C were very much in the game, but they lost a cluster of wickets. But then towards the end also the lower order showed some resistance and there was a chance that there could have been a draw because the match by India A was won in just the last couple of overs. So yes, overall that's the update that we have for you, that India A have been crowned the Duleep Trophy champions. So before we get to our usual drill of seeing how the potential India players have actually performed for India A and India C in the final round of Duleep Trophy, let's just take a look at the scores of how this match panned out. Well, India A batting first, they scored 297 courtesy a century by the young batter Shashwat Rawat. Well, yes, at one stage India A were really tottering, but Shashwat Rawat, he held the fort, he held one end, and towards the end he made sure that he got that big score, and he also played his shots very freely. So India A in their first innings they scored 297. India C, in response, they couldn't really get the partnerships going, lost wickets at regular intervals and could only manage 234, which meant that India A secured a very healthy 63-run first innings lead. Now in the second innings, India A managed to score 286 for 8 and they declared their innings, and in this case also it was Riyan Parag who stepped up to the plate, scoring 73, a very quick fire 73 of just about 110-111 balls. And in case of Shashwat Rawat also, well, he continued his form and he scored a 50. So what a time to place two brilliant knocks, and that too in a big Duleep Trophy final. So for India C, the final target was 250, and at one stage it really looked like that they would really get to that target because they were 133 for 2 at one stage and scoring at a very good rate. But then they lost wickets. Sai Sudarshan made sure that he held one end, but it wasn't really enough because he ran out of partners. And at the end, it was the story that was basically supposed to happen, and it happened like that. India A won the Duleep Trophy. Well, let's just take a look at the points table here, because in case of Duleep Trophy, the point is that there have just been a total of 6 matches, so there was no knockout round or the semi-finals or the finals here. As I said, there were a total of 6 matches, and the winner had to be decided by the end of those 6 matches as to who finishes at the top of the table would go on to lift the title. And that was the case with India A, who played a total of 3 matches, won 2 and lost 1. Well, in case of India A, who were led by Mayank Agarwal, they lost their opening game against India B, but then they made a comeback and made sure that they won their remaining 2 games. And in case of India C, they also did really well. Well, 3 matches, 1 win, 1 defeat and 1 loss, and loss obviously coming in this all important game. But India B, they were pretty much inconsistent. Well, they also had 1 win, 1 loss and 1 draw, but then overall their cumulative performances as far as this players' touch scores, it wasn't really good. And in case of India D, well, they were led by Shreyas Iyer, couldn't really do well. Even the individual performances weren't up to the mark, and they won only 1 game and lost the other 2. Well, now let's just take a look at some of the performances of the India potentials, starting with Ruturaj Gaikwad. Well, he did have a pretty decent tournament by scoring a couple of 50s, and that's why he's among the top 5 run getters of the tournament this year. But then in the final, he couldn't really get a big score, was out for 17 in the first innings, managed a good 44 in the second innings, but got out at the wrong time. But in case of Ruturaj Gaikwad, one thing can be assured, that India do have a test opener ready because he has showed great form. He was also a part of the tour of West Indies that India had last year. He was obviously one of the backup openers in come the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Well, the selectors would have a keen eye on Ruturaj Gaikwad, who could be one of India's backup openers again in an all-important tour of Australia. Now moving to Sai Sudarshan, well, Sai Sudarshan has also had a good time in red ball cricket. Well, he has been in and around India's white ball side. He made his debut against South Africa, also ODI debut, then also played a T20I against Zimbabwe, which was also his debut shortly after that 2024 T20 World Cup. Has been a part of the Surrey county team also, but then what he's done is that he's done well for his Ranji side, and overall here also he didn't really do much in the in the first innings, but in the second innings he scored when it really mattered the most. And if India they were basically in with a chance to win this match, it was primarily because of the fact that Sai Sudarshan scored those brilliant runs and a brilliant century. Moving to Ishan Kishan, well, he played a couple of matches, did not really feature in the first round of Duleep Trophy, but in his case, he scored that 100 in the second round, but couldn't really do much in this round. He did, manage to keep the wickets also, because obviously, he's a wicket-keeper batter, but then, those big runs didn't come, and that's what I think is actually expected of him. If he has to really, press his claim for a spot in India's test team going forward, and that's what he would be looking for as far as the Ranji Trophy is concerned. And in case of Prasidh Krishna, well, he's back after the injury, could not really do well in the first innings, went wicketless, but then now in the second innings he made sure that he got those crucial wickets, and overall he finished the tournament with a total of 4 wickets in 2 matches, did not really feature in the one initial match. But then in case of Prasidh Krishna, I think it's been established that he usually is someone who is hit the deck bowler, and if India would need him in the Australian conditions, when there's a chance that he might have to play a couple of Ranji Trophy matches to make sure that he's match fit, because in the previous few months his fitness has been a cause of concern. But now in Duleep Trophy he has featured in 2 matches, but the selectors would want that he plays a couple more just to make sure that he might be ready, whether he's ready for the Border Gavaskar Trophy or not. So what do you think about the Duleep Trophy, how the tournament really panned out? You can let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today for all the exciting updates and analysis on the sporting world. Until then, on behalf of my producer Pawan, it's Siddharth Gulati saying goodbye.